Hi, this is Aaron Nola, and welcome to the Phillies Show.
Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki. It's Friday, August 15th, 2025. Hope everybody is doing well out there. We look great today.
We got our stuff going on.
Jim is in his bunker in an undisclosed location. He's got this shady window covering behind him right now. Jim, you doing good? Jim, blink twice. Jim, blink twice if you're okay.
I'm doing well. Hold up. I'm going to hold up today's newspaper. Oh, they don't make newspapers anymore.
They don't.
Jim, I love your wig right now. I love the spiked up do. It's awesome.
I'm thinking of going that route.
You should go that route.
Yeah. I look very youthful.
Very cool.
One time, Ruben, one time Jim bought new shoes, a few years ago, and he was very proud of them. And he came into the press box. He goes, "Look, everybody, look at my new youthful shoes."
That was in Clearwater.
That was in Clearwater. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, look." He was strolling. He had a little strut going.
Was he strutting
chest out? The press box, chest out. He's like, "Look at my new youthful shoes."
Well, I have to keep up with you guys because your generation, all you wear is sneakers.
Sneaker shoes.
Sneaker shoes, yes. It's all about comfort. You can mix it up. You can mix it in. Yeah, you got to be a little comfortable.
And I have a little style, James. Just a little style. You're allowed.
I'm not wearing wingtips to the ballpark. Let's put it to you that way.
My style begins and ends with Dockers.
You go with pleats or no pleats? That's the question.
It depends how fat I am.
Depends how it's going for you this summer. Well, I think we look good today. The Phillies have not been so good the past few days. They've lost 3 in a row. And it's really been the offense. I was watching the game last night, and they had Harrison Bader got on with leadoff single, and Mundo Sosa bunts a runner over. Ruben, I want to ask you that because you were kind of surprised that Sosa bunted there. And can you explain why that was a surprise to you? I mean, I'm not a huge bunt guy unless it's a super obvious situation, giving up the out. Is that kind of what you were thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't like trying to play for the tie when you're on the road. But I think that the strategy behind it for Topper, and there was a reason for it. I mean, he believed that his bullpen's much better than their bullpen, and typically it is. But when you're not swinging the bats all that well, there are times when I sort of like to have guys just go ahead and swing the bat. I think I would trust Sosa to try to move the runner, hit the ball the opposite way, maybe hit the ball in the hole, maybe create something. Rather than give up an out. And then when he went to 3-0 with the bunt attempt, I thought that he might try to take a couple. Mm-hmm. Like he went to 3-1, he threw one right down the middle, and at that 3-1 situation, either let him hit at that point and maybe drive a ball out of the ballpark, or allow the hitter to maybe take a pitch, because he ended up bunting the ball and moving the runner and getting it out, or having a productive out and getting the sack. But the way the Phillies are swinging the bats, I don't know, man. I don't know if I like giving up outs. I know why he did it.
Right.
But they're just, I just didn't agree with the strategy. I mean, I like a lot of the things that Rob Thompson does, but I didn't agree with that one.
Yeah.
Maybe if they would do more early in games, he wouldn't have to be playing for one run.
Oh, you aren't kidding. You aren't kidding. No run support at all for Luzardo, who was really fabulous. I mean, this stuff was really good yesterday.
So I want to take.
They've been outscored 17-3 the last 3 games. I mean, we started the week saying how everything was coming together, and now we're ending it saying
now we're sitting there.
So
let's talk
3 in a row.
Let's dig a little bit more into the offense with the Parks first pitch. First pitch is brought to us exclusively by our partners at Park Casino, Pennsylvania's #1 casino. You're right, Jim. On Monday's show, we're sitting there talking about they got this nice little lead going. The Mets are tanking. It's kind of looking up. They have the second best record in the National League. They're running down the that first round bye, which is super important. In the last 3 games, they're batting 188 with a 473 OPS. So yeah, just kind of But this is kind of what we've talked about this all year. This is kind of what this team does, and one of the guys that's kind of been a culprit has been Nick Castellanos. He is in a brutal funk, atrocious funk. Looking up some numbers since the All-Star break, Nick Castellanos is batting 178, 3 walks, 25 strikeouts, 93 plate appearances, a 493 OPS. Again, that's since the All-Star break. That's third worst in baseball out of qualified hitters. He's got the lowest WAR out of qualified players since the All-Star break, -0.8. Then you add in the defense. And last Saturday in Texas, Rob sat him, said it was the turf, because of the turf, the hard turf. I asked somebody in Texas, I said, have you ever heard anybody say anything about the hard turf in Texas? And they said, not once in my life have I heard anybody say anything about the hard turf. So, Rob was trying to find a way to get Nick out of the lineup and mix some other guys in. But could we see maybe Max Kepler a little bit more in right field? Should we see a little bit more in Max Kepler in right field? Maybe Saturday, Cade Cavalli is on the right-hander. You guys think that's something that we should see or hope to see, or do you think he's going to continue to ride out Nick?
I think it's time that they started playing some hot hand here. I mean, you could platoon him, put Kepler over there, and they got Bader because he hits righties and lefties, and he can play a heck of a center field. Maybe it's time to play him out there regular. You could play Marsh regular and left, and you could platoon and right. They just haven't gotten enough out of Nick. I don't know what's going through Rob's head. I believe that if he feels like if he platoons Castellanos, he's going to lose them altogether, and he doesn't want that to happen. You do have to kind of manage the personnel in terms of how you can get the most out of a guy, and just having a guy completely disappear is not good for your team if you were to start platooning him. But something's got to be done there because they're not getting anything out of him.
Yeah, completely agree. I do think that he's going to have to play Kepler a little bit more, believe it or not. I mean, we're talking about Kepler, who has been struggling pretty much all year, but lately he's been swinging the bat well. He's gotten some good key base hits. He's hit the ball hard. I mean, he actually has a chance. Right now, I've watched Castellanos' at bats, and it almost looks like he has, in some at bats, literally no chance. And when you're in that sort of a funk, I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving a guy a couple of days of a blow. We used to do it with Pat Burrell. Charlie used to do it with Pat Burrell. Charlie's done it. I mean, sometimes you just have to say, hey, take a breather. We need some production. We're not getting production out of some of the big boys right now. Like, we talk a lot about some of the other guys who are not producing. But when you don't have your two big left-handed hitters doing the job, I mean, this team right now, for me, when Schwarber's not going well, the team just basically falls apart. That's one player. And when that happens, that's troublesome. I mean, some other people have to pick it up. Right now, Harper's not swinging the bat all that well. It's good to see him get a base hit to left field. Yesterday, it was finally flipped one into left. It was a little bit like Bobby Abreu when he struggles for a while. If he flips one into left and he stays on the ball a little bit better, he's pulling off the ball pretty consistently right now, not swinging well. You're just not getting a lot of production from a lot of guys. But when Schwarber's down, this team basically has no offense, which is weird. And it should be much better. I mean, the bottom of the lineup was doing a nice job in Texas since they were taking some of the heat off the top of the lineup. But top of the lineup at some point has to produce. I mean, you can go through a couple of days, but, those guys have to be better. And as far as, Kepler getting an opportunity to play, I'd stick him in there. Get him in there and let him play and just stay, Nick, get off your feet and get out of your head for a couple of games. And, let's get it going. I know it's a tough thing to manage for Rob Thompson because the player's a little sensitive. He's used to playing every single day. But at some point, you can't be the nice guy. You got to be the guy that wears the black hat and put the best team on the field.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird how, in the last week, we've seen every reason why we like this team in October and every reason why we're concerned about this team in October.
Right.
Right. It is funny though. Like, Ruben, you mentioned Max Kepler in the season he has. We were talking a few weeks ago about if Crawford comes up, could Kepler be gone? But he is the hot hand, and that's what I think Rob needs to do right now. Is just in moving forward, just kind of go with the hot hand with the lineup, and who hits behind Harper and Schwarber maybe. Although Alec Bowman had a couple hits on Thursday with AAA Lehigh Valley. He could be coming back soon. I think he'll slide in that 4 spot, but yeah, go with the hot hand. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be like a true platoon every single time, but if Max Kepler is swinging a good hot bat, mix him in there maybe a little bit more in right field while Nick is struggling. I mean, this is about winning games, going to the postseason, figuring out what you've got, figuring out what you can do in the postseason. And I think right now you have to go with Max Kepler. And, like you said, though, like Schwarber and Harper aren't swinging the bat great right now. So it's not just pinning this on Nick Castellanos, but he struggled most of the season. And certainly he has struggled terribly since the All-Star break. So
Schwarber's he's allowed to be human now and then. They need other guys to come up and pick him up and produce around him. He did swing it good that bat last night. Maybe that will get something going, because clearly he's not allowed to have, a 4-day slump.
Exactly. No, because the team collapses.
Hey, that was First Pitch, brought to you exclusively by our partners at Parks Casino. It's Pennsylvania's #1 casino. ParksCasino.com is the website. You must be 21. Hey, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Phillies fans, whether you're hustling on the field or having a catch with your kids, staying mobile is everything. And that is where Rothman Orthopedics comes in. With expert care and top docs, they keep the Phillies and Philly moving. With 30 office and walk-in center locations across greater Philadelphia and New Jersey, getting world-class orthopedic care has never been easier. From injury recovery to joint care, Rothman's got you covered, because at Rothman Orthopedics, your mobility is their mission. Schedule an appointment now at rothmanortho.com. And as always, if you are watching us on YouTube, you can just scan the QR code on your screen right there, and it'll take you right to it.
Kratz, tell everyone why they need to look into a virtual private network, aka a VPN.
That's kind of like wearing trousers. It keeps everything private and secure whenever you venture out.
That's good. That's really good. And Surfshark creates user-friendly privacy and security solutions to protect your data and your privacy online. It enables you to virtually explore the globe, browse privately by encrypting your internet activity, and block ads and malware that may disrupt your experience. So go to surfshark.com/foul or use the code FOUL at checkout at surfshark.com to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, and the FT fam is hooked up with 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN when you sign up at surfshark.com and use the code FOUL. It is time to take control of your online security. Try Surfshark today.
Back, Jesus Luzardo, I thought he pitched pretty well last night. He ran into trouble, obviously, in that last inning that he was on the mound. But you hate to waste a pitching performance like that, because, again, they're fighting for – you want to get that second – you want to get one of those top 2 seeds. And right now the Brewers can't lose, I feel like. And so and the Dodgers are struggling. So that second seed – one of those top 2 seeds is super important. They got to get that locked down. So you hate to see them waste a pitching performance like Luzardo.
No question. They wouldn't need a 4th start until the NLCS, correct? If they were able to secure that. And that's huge, the way this team lines up. It's also fewer games you have to win to get to the prize. So when the great debate about extra rest or getting the bye, I'll always take the fewer games than needing to win the fewer games to get there, especially with an aging roster. Get him some rest. It's not that long of a break. You should be able to ramp back up. But yeah, you need to be full bore going after that second best record in the National League.
Yeah, Luzardo had great stuff. His sweeper was fantastic. Fastball was good. He was pinpointing until like that 7th inning, and I think it was an interesting quote from Thompson about how he should have probably had, now that he's got a full contingency of bullpen, He probably should have had Orion Kirkering ready for Riley Adams in that situation. When he walked that first hitter, that's when he probably should have pulled him. There's a couple of things that Thompson did, and I love Rob, but there's a couple of things that I disagreed with. I know it happened fast for Luzardo, but when you have your full bullpen, he probably should have had Orion Kirkering ready, and he said it. He stated it himself for Riley Adams in that situation to try to preserve that 1-run lead after the walk. Even though Luzardo was throwing well, that walk really hurt him, and then he left a fastball right middle, and Riley Adams smoked it. So, but Luzardo's throwing really, really well. I like the idea that they were going to the 6-man rotation, and you talked about it, Todd. They got to win games, man. They got to win games because that second place in, as far as the record is concerned, is winnable. The other teams stink. The other teams are playing poorly too. And
Right.
so, I mean, the Dodgers aren't playing great. San Diego is not really playing all that great. They're having some injury issues now. I mean, there's a real good chance, and the Cubs obviously are a good team, but I mean, again, you got to be able to beat that second seed if you can, and they're good enough to be that second seed. They got to win games.
Yeah. As of today, the Phillies are tied for with the Padres for the second seed. They're both 69 and 52. But what do you guys like I mean, we kind of thought this was coming, the 6-man rotation. Rob announced that on Thursday before the game in DC. So Aaron Nola is going to rejoin the rotation on Sunday. Ranger Suarez is going to pitch on Monday. Taijuan Walker, who we again go back into the offseason. We thought, is this guy even going to be around? And now he's pitched so well. They're like, he is the guy. He's the 6-man. He's going to be the 6-man moving forward. And so it's going to give Zach Wheeler some rest. His last 5 starts, 4.71 ERA. It's going to give Ranger Suarez a little bit more rest. His last 5 starts, 6.59 ERA. And it's also going to give Christopher Sanchez some extra rest, who's approaching a career high in innings. So makes sense, right?
No question. We've been talking about this since spring training. We've been talking about it since last year, that the possibility exists. I mean, I think they went to it one turn last year, but it's been out there all season. When you go to the postseason in consecutive years like this team has, it adds extra workload on your pitchers. The example I always use is, and it's stressful pitching in the postseason, I always use Madison Bumgarner as an example. I mean, he kind of hit a wall when he turned 30, but I mean, he'll take it because he won 3 World Series rings. He was an absolute horse, but he was pitching an extra month every year, and I think it had took a real toll on him. Wheeler and all these guys have been pitching extra. Not last year. It was only 1 start. They were out of there early, but I mean, I think you know what I'm saying. They've been talking about a 6-man for a long time, and it's good to be able to go to it. It's good to be able to go to it with Aaron Nola. He's been there. He's done that. I mean, this is a fascinating situation. He has a chance after a kind of a lost season. He has a chance to really impact the team and really impact this race, almost in a hired gun fashion. I know he struggled. He's been up and down last year or so, and he struggled earlier this year. But let me ask you this: if your team went out and acquired Aaron Nola at the deadline, even with all his warts, his recent warts, you would take a chance at that. And I'm really ready to take a chance that he can provide 6 really good weeks for this team and give them a lift and give everybody else a blow. It's a really good chance for him, like I said, to do something for the team that he's kind of missed out on all season.
He could be the number 3 starter.
I think I mean, we were talking about this 6 starter situation with Painter being the guy, but Painter hasn't stepped forward, and Taijuan Walker has. So, but I do like the idea that I'm going to the 6-man rotation. As far as Nola is concerned, this is a fresh arm. It wasn't an arm issue. It was a rib and an ankle issue. And he has, logged a lot of innings over the years, but he's now coming off basically, a few months of being able to sit back and work his way into getting back and ready. And listen, he may end up being the 3rd starter. If Suarez and, some of the other guys in the rotation, Luzardo, whatever, if they're not throwing the ball all that well, they're going to mix and match. It's going to be Wheeler and it's going to be Sanchez. And after that, it's going to be the best pitcher that's pitching at that time. And it could very well be Aaron Nola because he's been there and he's done it. And he's had some, success in the postseason. So I'm going to love having him back. I don't know how well he's going to pitch, but it's certainly going to help this team's depth. The interesting thing about this is what's going to happen roster-wise, because now you're going to have a shorter bullpen. You're going to have 7 guys in the bullpen. You're going to have 6 guys in the rotation. What is the roster move that they make? They've got a couple of difficult decisions because when Nola comes back, they'll really only have one guy that has options, and that's Max Lazar. Right. And do they make the move? Is it Ross? Is it Romano? Is it Lazar? Who gets sent out? And then when Alvarado comes back, they got another difficult decision on the 19th. Now, this is basically stating, under the thought process that everybody's healthy, but there's some really tough roster decisions to be made. Same way with Alec Boehm, who's going to come back, I think, closer to this weekend than next week because he's getting closer. When Alec Boehm comes, who's it going to be? Weston Wilson or Kemp? I think it might be Otto just because I think Weston Wilson could do more things. Otto Kemp's inability to play defense, I think, hurts him. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack here, and it's going to be really interesting, some of the roster moves they have to make.
Yeah, the bullpen, who goes out of that bullpen when they go to a 6-man is very interesting. We talked about this on Monday. Like, do you keep, even though Romano has really struggled? It was funny, though, on Monday I mentioned how his last 8 appearances in all low leverage situations, he had pitched pretty well. And then the other night in Cincinnati, he absolutely got blown up. But do you keep the depth, i.e. keep Romano and option Max Lazar, or do you just say, you know what, Romano doesn't really have a spot for us. Lazar's pitching in, more trusty to go in that route. So it's interesting. But yeah, the Phillies they're in a stretch right now of 39 games in 41 days. So the 6-man rotation makes all the sense.
It makes sense in so many ways. And I'm especially looking at Wheeler. I'm especially looking at Suarez. Give them a little extra time between starts because they are so hugely important.
Yeah, and they're saying just one time through, but it may end up being a couple of times through. And then they're thinking about ways that they can kind of massage through this. It's probably going to be guys maybe piggybacking, something like that, where you have, a guy start and then a guy following him as a starter and going to a quote unquote 5-man rotation again. But they're going to have to mix and match and figure it out. It's a good problem to have.
It is. So we had on Wednesday, we had Eagles GM Howie Roseman on the show, and that was a lot of fun. He had a lot of great things to say. So if you haven't checked that episode out, go back and check out Wednesday. It would really, you really got to see a lot of his personality. I don't really know him that well, obviously covering the Phillies, but a lot of great stuff talking about winning and losing in Philly. You and Ruben, you guys had a couple drinks back in the day. Right. He was talking about how he, as a kid, he, just his love of the NFL and just wanting to be a general manager. And Jim, you asked him that great question at the end. It was a great capper question because he just crushed it, but where he's heard Go Birds over the years, the weirdest places he's heard Go Birds. So
yeah, it was awesome.
Go check that out. NFL season is coming up. It's right around the corner. I love the fall because you got postseason baseball, pennant baseball, and then you got the NFL starting up. So, one great place to watch all of these games, Parks Casino.
No doubt. And it's all happening this summer at Parks Casino. It is my casino of choices. Parks is Pennsylvania's #1 casino. Action, excitement, headline entertainment, and great restaurants. Plus, all summer long, swing by the Bet Parks Sportsbook for every Philadelphia home game this baseball season. Enjoy the ultimate Philly fan experience. $1 dogs, $3 Miller Lights, and wall-to-wall action on a 150-foot giant video screen. That's $1 dogs and $3 Miller Lights MLs every home game. Plus, check out concerts, comedy, and more at the state-of-the-art Excite Center. A collection of award-winning restaurants are there. Park Grill, Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House, and the Liberty Bell Gastropub and Beer Garden. Parks Casino, this is how you win. ParksCasino.com for tickets to all shows. You must be 21, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The So in Cincinnati this week, guys, Kyle Schwarber, he grew up right outside of Cincinnati, and the Reds kind of rolled out the red carpet for him, and his dad comes out and throws the ceremonial first pitch. His youth baseball coach comes out and throws out the ceremonial first pitch, and this has a lot of people very hot and bothered, very hot and bothered, and I honestly I find it a little bit ridiculous. The idea that this is going to sway Kyle Schwarber in free agency, that he's going to be sitting there with 2 offers on the table and he's going to go, you know what? I think I'm going to sign with or 5, 6 offers on the table. He's going to, you know what? I think I'm going to go to Cincinnati because I grew up a Reds fan, but also because they had my dad and my youth baseball coach come to the game and throw me a ceremonial first pitch. Do you find this just an absolutely ridiculous suggestion that this is going to sway him one way or the other? It is for me.
I agree. Ridiculous. What? And we've been talking about Cincinnati for like a year as a potential and a destination that makes a lot of sense because obviously he grew up there. He's a Reds fan as a kid, but they got some good young players. They got a ballpark where the ball flies. And he's got this, big personality. He's a giant in the community. He would have a Jim Thome it would be a Jim Thome signing for that franchise back when the Phillies signed Thome, and he checked every box on the field and off the field, from player to community guy to teammate to power hitter. Anyway, Schwarber would fit all that for the Reds. He would make a ton of sense. We've been talking about that for like a year. In the end, I just don't – it's not Cincinnati's style, and I've talked to people in our organization about it, and they admit it's just not something we do. We don't go out and sign mega free agent contracts. It's going to come down to money. The Phillies have the money. They know his value. I don't see any way they let him get away. I don't think in the end Cincinnati's going to be a real player given their history and given the way they don't spend. And I just think John Middleton is a guy who listens to his customers and he hears the standing ovations and he sees the Schwarber bombs and he's going to listen and they're going to get it done. And he's going to be right back here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, you sort of stole my thunder there, Jim. That's what happens when you're number 3. And no, you should. I mean, I love it. I mean, listen, you're absolutely right. I view him as a Jim Thome type signing for them in Cincinnati. Very, very similar situation. And it would be big for the Cincinnati. And I don't have any problem with them pulling out all stops like that. I mean, they haven't violated anything. They haven't, that's not a violation of any of the rules. I mean, they're just honoring the guy, and I got no problem with that. And at the end of the day, it's always about the greenbacks and the length. It's the money and the length. And, unless Cincinnati gets to like 95% of that money and length, I don't think it's going to be a factor. And so, and honestly, I just don't know that they have the wherewithal and the money to be able to hang with the Phillies in that situation. But it's possible. Anything's possible, obviously. I just feel like at the end of the day, the Phillies are going to bring this guy back. He's too important to this franchise for a number of reasons that Jim's already stated. And he's a great person. He's a great ball player, and he fits Philadelphia too darn well.
So the largest contract the Reds have ever signed a player to was the contract extension for Joey Votto. That was a 10-year, $225 million deal. The largest free agent contract that they've ever signed, if my research is correct, 4 years, $64 million to Nick Castellanos and Mike Moustakas in 2020. Those are the largest free agent contracts they've ever signed a player. So they haven't even sniffed $100 million with a free agent. The current largest contract the Reds have is Brian Hayes, who they got in the trade, 8 years, $70 million. So, Ruben, your dad played here. You grew up here. You grew up a Phillies fan. If you were Kyle Schwarber, if you were having the type of career that Kyle Schwarber is having for the Seattle Mariners, and you came back to play the Phillies one day, and your dad threw out the first pitch to you, and then the free agency comes along, and the Mariners go, we're going to give you 5 years, $150 million to stay in Seattle. And then the Phillies call you up and go, how about 4 years, $90 million? But we did have your dad throw the first pitch to you before a game. You're re-signing with the Mariners, just like
that would be correct 100% of the time.
Yeah. Now, if
less money didn't mean anything to me, and I think that and honestly, there's so many different factors. I mean, you're talking about there's going to be some union pressure. There's all types of stuff. He's probably one of the biggest. He and Tucker are going to be the biggest, I think, bats as far as free agency is concerned, and the union's going to want to push the envelope here, so they'll have some influence on this decision as well. I think ultimately it'll be the player's decision, especially in Kyle Schwarber's case.
You're right.
But the union's going to have some influence on this baby too.
That's the homecoming to watch. The potential homecoming to watch is the Cubs if they lose Tucker and they have money burning a hole in their pocket. That and Kyle Schwarber was a Cub. He came drafted by them, came to the majors with
They
them.
know how important he was.
Won a World Series with him. They're kicking themselves because they didn't show him a little more patience getting them through a down year. That's the homecoming for me to watch. It shouldn't bother people that Kyle's dad caught the first pitch. It should bother people that you went into Cincinnati and lost 2 or 3, you know?
Correct. That should be more bothersome.
I also want to say this, and I've talked about this with a number of players over 30 years. It can be very distracting for a player to play at home. There can be a lot of distractions, and a lot of guys don't want to come out and say it. But sometimes it's good to have that little bit of distance. You don't have the whole world pulling on you. So that might be something that factors into Schwarber's thinking as well. I mean, this is 2025. You can fly home on a private jet on an off day and be there in 2 hours. So it's not like, you have to be home. You can play elsewhere and still go home out in the off season. And, you don't play your whole life. You're going to spend the bulk of your life in your hometown. So those are all things to factor. I think Kyle Schwarber is very focused and very comfortable in Philadelphia. And I also think with a team like Cincinnati, you have to wonder, is the owner in or out? You never have to worry about that in Philadelphia. The owner is in, the ownership is in, and every year they're going to put their best foot forward, try to put a ring on your finger. I think that matters.
I was talking with somebody about Schwarber recently and, free agency and stuff. And he said, the guy wants to win. He wants to be in a place where he knows he has a chance to win. And you're right, Jim. So say the Reds go crazy and they match the Phillies and he goes, you know what? I do want to play for my hometown team. But he has to be then asking himself, well, they just dropped $125 million on me. Are they actually going to go out and keep spending money? I mean, they haven't shown the history of doing that. So, okay, you can get your money and play for your hometown team. Are you going to get to the World Series? You're going to have a chance to get to the playoffs every year. In Philly, you're going to have a chance to do that. Ask Ken Griffey Jr. how his experience was in Cincinnati playing for his hometown team. He grew up in Cincinnati, a Reds fan, obviously his dad and everything like that. Didn't exactly work out. So,
Didn't Castellanos on his way out the door, didn't he question ownership's commitment in Cincinnati?
He crushed ownership. He crushed ownership there.
All he has to do is kind of take temperature 2 lockers down.
Exactly right. Yeah, literally 2 lockers down. So, all right, guys, the Phillies continue their series against the Nationals this weekend, finishing up this 10-game road trip Friday night. It is Mackenzie Gore on the mound for the.
Ooh,
that's going to be a tough one.
Tough one for Philly. Mackenzie's been struggling lately, but he's really good. He's got great stuff, and the Phillies struggle against him.
Yeah, the local 9. That's a tough one to get going against.
Yeah,
but they've got to do it. So we will be back on Monday.
Smell you later, boys.
Smell you, Jim.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.